Okay, welcome back to part 2 of our Super Metroid playthrough, completing the game in less than 2 hours. And where we left off, we had just picked up a few items, and now we are backtracking a little bit. We just got the Ice Beam, and we're going to backtrack through Brinstar and moving our way up to the wrecked ship area of the game. And again, because we've already seen some of this, we're just going to bypass a good chunk of it until we get to where we have to climb up right about here. Now, normally, this would be hard to get up unless you're an expert at wall jumping, but now that we have the Ice Beam, it is a lot simpler, of course. Just go ahead and use the Ice Beam as you can, as needed, and up you go. Again, if you were an expert at wall jumping, this would be fairly simple, but since this is a playthrough mainly meant for the average gamer, you're going to see things like that. So, by the way, I'm not normally this bad. I can usually get up here pretty quickly. There are quite a few gaffes, as I've mentioned earlier in part 1, that I will make throughout the course of this run-through that are not typical of my skill and my playthrough style. But again, maybe it is okay that I make some of these mistakes, so you can see that you too can get through here with mistakes like this. So continue moving up, shred everything, freeze everything, not a big deal, and you're going to see that this section becomes much easier with the Ice Beam in tow. And what we're doing up here, we're going to be going up here for really a couple reasons. One thing that we definitely need is the Power Bomb. Power Bomb is going to make it necessary to go back into Norfair and get the grappling beam. Now I know what you're thinking. If you've watched speedruns of this game, you don't really need the grappling beam, and that's true. You can save a lot of time by skipping over it. However, in order to do that, you have to be an absolute master of wall jumping and other kinds of things like shine sparks, such tricks that we are going to not do for various reasons because it is rather difficult to get them done accurately for the average gamer here. So basically we're going down, blast through here with the super missile, and this is going to allow us to pick up our very first power bomb upgrade item here. So right over here we go. There's our power bomb, basically blows through most walls or most floors that a regular bomb could not. By the way, as soon as you get it, go ahead and blast it once again, go right through the wall behind you. And here is a sneaky little missile upgrade pack that we can pick up. And now that we have that, we're going to backtrack once again to the entrance of Norfair, and we are going to start to achieve the grappling beam and the grappling hook, as long as we're not stupid and do things like this. So, a little bit more backtracking, a little bit more preparation, and we will be ready to go here. But first of all, let's back out of here. Going to go all the way back down that shaft up here, kill some of these ugly looking larva enemies here. Sometimes they will drop super missiles, so if you are low on them or need any more, feel free to kill some. But in the meantime, let's go ahead and continue our backtracking, and we'll see you back on the flip here. Okay, now that we are back in Norfair once again, let's go ahead back down here to the left where we got the Ice Beam. And a little bit different now because we have the power bombs in tow. So dash all the way across. You're going to break out this floor at first with the speed boosters. So continue to go down with the power bomb. You're going to clear everything out down here, and you can use a speed booster if you want, or just kill everything and power yourself up, get items that you're going to need for the upcoming eventual fight here. Keep on moving through, blast through, and what are we going to see? We're going to have a falling area right here. Just go down, 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 all the way over to the right, hook around. You will need to speed boost through this corridor here to break through the walls. You could also use some power bombs, but that's kind of pointless when you can boost. So speed all the way through, blast everything, destroy everything, and you're going to go through this wall on the ground here, this door with a super missile. And here we are. We now have another boss fight with Crocomire over to the far right. Crocomire is a little bit different from most bosses, is that he doesn't really have a traditional health bar, so you don't know exactly how much damage you're doing, aside from how many steps back he takes after you hit him with a missile or a charge beam. Basically, the way it works is you hit him with a super missile, he'll go back, I believe, 5 steps. A regular missile will push him back 1 or 2 steps, and a charge beam 1, maybe 2 steps here. So obviously, you want to try to hit him with super missiles if you can, because he'll go back the most. Unfortunately, I had some pretty bad luck during this boss fight here, and there were a couple of occasions where I would hit a super missile at him, and it would either hit his nose, his jaw, or it would completely hit his projectile that came out of his mouth, and resulted in being a waste here. So I think you're going to see at the very end here, I had to resort to using my charge beam because I completely ran out of missiles. Yes, I did. So the charge beam had to come into play, and every time you see it hits him, it's going to knock him back 2 steps, which is okay, but you don't want to get yourself into this position in the first place. So do yourself a favor and have good accuracy on your missile shots, or better yet, you got here with pretty decent time. If you happen to come across any more missile upgrades, feel free to pick them up, although I think we got almost all of them that we could conceivably get. without diverting too much from the path. So realistically, just do a better job with your accuracy is all I could really say. We're not quite done yet because, oh, we got a spiked wall here. What do we do? Well, looks like an earthquake. We're gonna get crushed. Of course, if you played the game, you know the answer. And that answer is, hell no. Crocomire makes his unrelenting return, and he falls to the ground and dies once again. Now, we're gonna continue over to the left. I recommend getting a speed boost or a speed jump here. You could attempt to do a shine spark if you wanted to, but that's really just a waste of energy and time. So just jump over here. You're going to go all the way down over to the left. We're going to proceed further down left, and we're going to obtain the grappling beam before going further into the game here. Now, really, the grappling beam is useful for 1, maybe 2 sections in this run if you're even somewhat decent at wall jumping here, but you're going to see that it's absolutely critical for getting into the wrecked ship area here, and that will be coming up relatively soon. So here we go, dash across and jump, and right in this door here, we have our next upgrade, which of course is the grappling beam. Now, ironically and interestingly enough, I get the grappling beam. You're meant to get out of this room with the grappling beam, but I'm going to use the wall jump now, of all times, to demonstrate how to get out of there with it. Yes, I do have some skill, and when I choose to use it, it's kind of cool. Only at times, though. So, we have the grappling beam. We're going to continue to move up here. Go all the way back up. You're going to have more opportunities to utilize the grappling beam here. That's a case where you kind of almost have to here, since they've thought about that little platform there to stop you from wall jumping. And we're going to continue moving across here. So grappling beam is very critical if you don't have the gravity suit, and pretty much everyone will not, because you can't really get it at this point unless you're doing the run out of order, and if you are, you wouldn't be watching this video because you're a god at speedrunning. Anyway, I digress. We're going to continue up here, and basically we have everything we need at this point, so we're going to continue up over to the right. Now you could go left here. There is an upgrade for a power bomb, but really 10 to 15 power bombs for this run is more than enough, so it is what it is. By the way, this is one opportunity to do a shine spark here, so when you get it, you're going to hit down to store the power, and then you can hit R in order to dash yourself all the way over to the right. Now, I would recommend jumping first before you hit R, because as you can see, I hit the wall and fell deep into the lava. If I did that and I didn't have the grappling beam, I would be screwed, because that is the lava that will drain your life almost instantly here. So learn from my mistake. If you're going to shine spark, make sure that you jump before you hit R in order to avoid that fiasco here, catastrophe. But anyway, it is what it is. We're out of there, no problem. Now we're going to continue our ascent up and over to the left. We're going to pick up a few more missile and super missile upgrades along the way. So the trip was not for naught, for lack of a better word. There was some merit in it. We're just going to continue going up and over here to the left, and you're going to have another opportunity to use your grappling beam here if you wish, and we do. And we're just about at the exit to this area here. We're going to have one final missile upgrade to pick up here, and then we have a super missile green door to blast through, not a pickup, please forgive me. So get this, blast through the door, and then we should be back in a familiar section of Norfair that you've seen previously. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, you will find out in just a moment once the section loads. And here we are, go ahead, blast up, and we are now back in the familiar Norfair shaft that we've seen a couple of times now. Don't worry about that power bomb door, that just gives you a map, you don't really need it, especially if you've been playing this game for any length of time. You should know this area pretty well by now. We're going up through the Norfair elevator once again. We're going to do some more backtracking up through that shaft in Brinstar where we had to use the ice beam or we first got the power bombs. We're going to backtrack to that area, and then we will go on to a new section to the wrecked ship. So bear with the skip, and we'll see you on the flip. Okay, we're finally back out of that once again, and we're going to continue on up here. Obviously, if you went down, that was the power bomb location. We're going to go up this time. Here's a few more enemies you can kill to get some super missiles if you need them. Don't worry about these doors. Just keep going up, and we are now going to move into an area that we have been to previously at the start of the game. We're moving into Crateria, but this is a section that was previously inaccessible because you needed the super missile to get here. Also a power bomb. So go ahead and blow through this door here. And we're going to go up. We're now back in Crateria, but this is a section that is also hidden behind a super missile door. Continue moving up. You're going to see these enemies are getting tougher now, obviously, but not tough enough that we can't kill. Move up, blast through the floor here. We're going to move over to the right this time, And we're going to have another power bomb door to blast through, making sure that you have an ample supply of them. And then have your grappling beam ready. This is the one area of the game, one screen, possibly two, that you really have to have a grappling beam for an average player. So go ahead, get here, get the missile upgrade, continue going across. Notice how some of these blocks are crumbled. That means that you cannot spend forever on them because they will break. Keep moving through. And we're going to officially be still in Criteria, but we're very, very close to the wrecked ship now. Be very careful to jump across. Do not fall into the water, because without the gravity suit, you're going to have to walk all the way back and swim all the way back in sluggish underwater conditions here. So this is why the grappling beam is essential to have, particularly for those of us who are not adept at wall jumping or going through the game in a pace and a path not intended. So go through here. We are now officially into the wrecked ship area, so we're going to run all the way across. Our main goal here right now is to find the boss, Phantoon, kill him, and restore power to this area of the ship, and the entire ship rather. And then we can continue with the next part of the game. But before we get there, we're going to blast all the way down over to the right, and Phantoon is very close at this point. Continue blasting down. He is in the depths of the ship here, and the basement, if you want to call it that. Continue going down, blast your way through. You're going to move over to the right. Now there will be another eye door which needs to be destroyed with a super missile. Make sure you have at least one, preferably 5, if not more. Super missiles will make this fight go a lot quicker, I should say, although it makes the fight more dangerous as well. And you'll see what I mean shortly here. Here we are now in Phantoon's quarters. By the way, I honestly would recommend not using the super missile for staying alive and safety's sake, and you'll see why when we get here. So Phantoon's going to appear, and there's a few ways you can handle this. First of all, you're going to see he's going to drop fire. Shoot the fire, and use your super missiles, use your charge beam in order to do damage to him. This right here is why most people fail and die this challenge in this part of the game, because of the revolving eyeballs. However, see what I'm doing here? I am mini screw attacking through all of these fireballs. Basically, just charge your beam up, and then spin jump. It acts as a screw attack and it makes you invincible. As long as you do that, there is no reason why you should not be able to complete this boss fight with the amount of energy tanks that we have. So, as far as dealing damage, once again, the super missile is a great means of doing damage. Unfortunately, as I've said, every time you use a super missile, it's going to make Phantoon do this, which is okay. Just make sure that you screw attack through all of these fireballs here. Otherwise, you're going to have a very hard time getting through this section at all, let alone undamaged here. If you use a charge beam, he will avoid, and you will avoid, that particular area and that particular section happening. So charge beams are definitely safer, although it's going to extend the fight just a little bit. But knowing that he's not going to hurt you as much, maybe it's for the best that you do the charge beams here. So now you know what to expect, you know how to get through here safely. Choose to do it as you wish, it's really up to you. So if you have a super missile, go ahead and use it and then screw attack through it. If not, charge beams are fine. Do what you gotta do. And I think we've got 3, maybe 4 hits on him if you include the charge beam. 1 more solid hit should do it. Just gonna have to charge our way through and screw all the way through all of this BS that he's throwing at us right here. How many eyeballs can one ghost have? I think 1 more onslaught to survive should do it here. There's another super missile that's gonna make this fight pretty much done. Go ahead and blast him, and yep, that's going to do it here. That was a pretty good run of Phantoon. We got through with 2.5 energy tanks to spare. I have managed to beat him before going virtually unhit. It is possible, though not easy. But all things considered, that was not too bad. We get through it, and now we're just going to go ahead and restock our energy and missile supplies and power bombs and head on out. Now, we're not quite ready to move on to the next part of the game just yet. There is an energy tank that we're going to get here, and also the gravity suit, which is critical for getting anywhere underwater and in later parts of the game here. So, a couple things we still need to get, and I'll show you exactly where to get them here. So basically, once you defeat Phantoon and you exit, you're going to head all the way to the top of the wrecked ship here. Don't worry about going out this door. You're going to come right back in if you do. So kill these enemies if you need to restock. Make your way all the way up to the top of the wrecked ship, blasting through all this stuff. Don't worry about these doors. We will come back to some of them eventually. There is a save point in there if you want to go ahead and save, though it's not really necessary if you know what you're doing. Continue to blast on up here. You're going to have a lot of easy stuff to trek through. And then we will have a section up here which could be tough if you don't have all the appropriate beams, but of course we do. Now, we're going to end up going both ways here. Technically, you don't have to go to the right, but we're going to do it anyway just to stock up on an extra 5 missiles here. If you want to save some time, probably an extra few minutes, you could skip going to the right and just go straight left. But trust me, we got plenty of time here, so we are going to take the time to go left and right. So kill everything. You have to kill every enemy within this long corridor here. That includes going far left and then back over to the far right. So you can clearly see that's a solid metal door. We got everything to the left. Now we're going to come back right, kill everything here, and go through the final door, and you'll see the next section of the game, which is going to have our missile upgrade here. So we go on through, and really not a whole lot to concern ourselves with here. We just have a spike corridor conveyor belt with some robots that don't shoot anything except for projectiles, which are easily avoided here. So just keep on doing this. Eventually you will get through. There is a missile upgrade at the far end here, right over... Come on. Move it, move it. There it is, right there. So shoot him into the spike pits. You're going to pick up the missile upgrade, and then go all the way back over to the left. Do the same process, kill all the enemies one more time, and then we're going to head outside of the wrecked ship to the next part of the game. We're going to skip through this. We'll see you when we're over there. Alright, that wasn't too bad. We're out of there, and now we're back outside in the realm of criteria, if you will, in the wrecked ship. We're going to go down this way over to the far left, and eventually as we dash and run and run and run, we're going to stop right about here. Go ahead and bomb. You could power bomb, but why would you want to? And bomb yourself back up here. Continue over to the right, and we're going to go back in towards the wrecked ship area. Going to have a couple of easy to kill enemies in the water. What could that possibly mean? As if we don't know. As if we don't know that moving in the water as slow as it is, we know exactly what's coming up here. So move back in toward the wrecked ship. This is an area where if you had the speed booster fully charged and you were really, really good, you could possibly shine spark over there, but this is not a case where we're going to do it. We're just going to utilize the grappling beam and be safe and smart. And here we are. Go ahead and get into the little chorizo statue, and of course he will carry us right down to where the next upgrade is, that being the gravity suit. We just have to wait for the cutscene to play out here, and then we'll see exactly what's coming up. Alright, that wasn't too bad. Go ahead and continue moving over to the left. Don't go down there. That'll take you back up. And here we are. We have the gravity suit. So this is going to allow us to get to the next portions of the game here, and more importantly, allow us to move underwater with full regular speed. That's important because it lets you do things like bomb, dash, and a whole bunch of other stuff. So we're going to go all the way over to the left. Eventually we are going to go back in the ship, but first of all go here. There is a missile upgrade pickup, and I guess technically you don't really need it at this point, but it's good to have more missiles than less, especially when you're not really in a time crunch just yet. We have quite a few missiles. I'd say this is more than enough at this point, but this is just an insurance policy, I would say. Now, the other thing we have to do is go back into the ship, and we're going to get another energy tank. And this is critical, not necessarily for the enemies coming up, but we're just preparing ourselves for the future boss fights. Particularly, I'm thinking about you, Ridley. Oh god, just wait. He's coming eventually. Alright, we're going to go down and through this door to the right. This is going to take us to the next part of the game. Eventually, we're going to head into Meridia, where we're going to encounter our next boss. But we're not quite ready for that yet. Just go through, move across these spikes. It's okay if you get hit once or twice or thrice or whatever. Just go ahead and get yourself over there, and normally in here you're going to head down. Not quite here, but in the next portion. So we're going to go up, and there's a doorway which will take you over to the right. That's where you normally want to go, but before you do that, head up. And this section here is going to take you to the next energy tank. And obviously you can see a door here, so go ahead and blast yourself through. Normally in this upcoming room, you're going to want to make use of the grappling beam, and certainly you can do that if you don't want to take a chance. You could end up doing a wall jump. Whatever you feel comfortable doing. A dash jump will get you across, or a wall jump will get you up these walls. Be very careful if you do touch the spikes. They are very deadly, of course. But there we go. There's our 5th energy tank. That's going to put us in very, very good position going forward for the next portion of this game here as we move into Meridia. We're going to attempt to jump across, and once again we fail epically. We should have learned how to do the dash jump by now, but alas, we forgot. Whatever. I think we're playing kind of loosey-goosey because we know we've got full energy here, but whatever. Go ahead and move back on down, and Meridia is going to be over this way to the right. We're now in the far right section of the map, now past the wrecked ship. Just keep on moving. A lot of these enemies that you see here are mainstays within the realm of Meridia here, so a sign of things to come. Continue moving all the way far over to the right, and eventually you will come to a door and an elevator that's going to take you all the way down to the next portion of the game here. So nothing you can't really handle, just a few ridiculous spawning jumpy frog type enemies here. We haven't really seen those since the beginning of the game in Criteria, and you probably won't be seeing any more for the rest of the game, I don't think. Maybe once more? Just keep on moving. Nothing you can't really handle here, just some easy, simple stuff. Shoot the enemies if you want to, or take the damage. It really does not bother me either way. You will have to bomb up through here though. I recommend bombing. You can bomb up like this, or you can just stand up and jump. Whatever works for you, whatever floats your boat. Continue on moving, and I believe in here there is a power bomb door. Yes, we are correct. Just go on down through. And we are now looking at an elevator that's going to take us right down into Meridia here. So we are now officially entering the next part of the game, into Meridia. So as we go down into this section here, I will tell you up front, Meridia has a couple very important things. The most important of which is the plasma beam. The plasma beam, of course, is the most powerful beam in the entire game outside of the hyper beam, which you don't get until the very end, so it's kind of pointless to even mention that one. But the plasma beam is absolutely critical. It will allow you to kill, maybe not next boss, but it'll allow you to kill the final bosses and do much more significant damage to them much easier. So make sure when you have the opportunity to get the plasma beam that you do. That's important. You'll have a lot of opportunities to get extra missile and super missile upgrades here. There are extra items that you could get, such as the spring ball, which we are not going to get, so we're going to bypass that. By the way, right here, you have the option to go through that door or just go straight down. Either way does not matter. I've opted to go down here. Like I said, doesn't make much of a difference, but just continue moving over left. We're now in the section where you can actually get very close to entering to find the plasma beam. So we're not quite ready for the plasma beam yet. You can't get it until you kill the next boss, which is Draygon, the next major boss, I should say. So don't worry about the plasma beam just yet. Just continue to move on down this way. We're going to take this big suction pipe all the way down, and basically you're going down and over to the left until you get to the other main entrance point of Meridia, which is that big glass tube that you may remember that we saw when we were in Brinstar. We actually backtracked through it several times, so you should be very familiar with that area. By the way, this is one of my most hated areas in the entire game right here, one of my most hated screens, just because you get stuck in the sand and you deal lots of damage to yourself. It's just ridiculous. Unless you have the space jump or the screw attack to get through this area unharmed. Again, very easy to see why this section of the game is terrible. But we ended up getting through it without too much of a problem. We're pretty close to the second area of Meridia, which is near Brinstar. And here's another busted tube. We're going to go roll down here, in through this door, and we're basically at the secondary area of Meridia right now, the southern entrance. Yeah, you can hear the music change, so you know we're getting very close right now. Make sure that you do have at least one super missile in your possession. If you don't, that's a good spawn point to earn them. And this is why. You need to bust through that super missile conveyor belt door all the way over, and then this will take you right down to the Brinstar Meridia interchange here, as I will call it. Here's that glass tube busted open with the power bomb, and boom, there it goes. You could go down if you want to. That leads to a save point. We're obviously not going to do that. We're just going to head up. Now, the main thing that we're looking to do right now is head toward the next main boss, which is Draygon. In order to get there, you're going to head straight on up, straight up and over left. Eventually, you will come to a very tricky wall jumping and grappling beam section, so take your pick, whatever you're best with. There are some pickups here for missiles and super missiles. If you know how to traverse and get them with the speed booster, you can certainly attempt to do that. Not really necessary. If you want to try to get the super missile, that could be worth your time though. But if not, just keep on moving up here, all the way across, and then this is a tricky section right here. You're going to have to be pretty proficient with the grappling beam or wall jumping, one or the other. We're opting to go with the grappling beam here because it's pretty easy to use and because we have it in our possession. Obviously, most speedrunners are not going to have this because they're skipping the grappling beam. We're assuming that they are pros at wall jumping. If you are an average gamer like most of us, you're not going to have that skill in your quiver, so to speak. So you're going to have to use the grappling beam. So be very proficient at it. Make sure you hold in the trigger buttons as you're doing the grappling beam for a better chance of hitting those posts, as we did. If you happen to fall, just go all the way back and try it again. Thankfully, we didn't. We're moving on down, and make sure you have a super missile in your position for this door right here. Keep on moving, moving, moving. You will need a couple of power bombs here to bust through a lot of these floors. I think there's one more down here that you need. Yeah, it's right about here. So bust on through. The speed booster will be necessary to go through a section right here. There are missile and super missile pickups here. Obviously, you don't have to get them, but when you have time, and we're only talking about 30 seconds at most, you might as well pick them up here. So here's the missile. If you continue moving over to the right, you will see the super missile upgrade. Make sure that you jump right before it. That is a false floor that will cause you to drop. Perfect. Now that we have it, we're going to fall all the way down to the ground, and we're going to use either the grappling beam or the wall jump. Either one does not matter to me. Just go all the way down, grapple, wall jump, and that's going to take us to the next section, which will eventually lead us to a sub-boss here called Botwoon, or Botswoon, one of the two. Wall jump yourself all the way up. 2 or 3 should do it. And we're now into the next section here. And here, we're going to have these little beta, not beta males, but beta Metroids, as I'll call them. They are second-class failures of Metroids. Basically, one good shot will kill them. Yes, they can technically suck your life out, but they're very easily avoided here. So go on through. This section right here, this is our mini-boss Botwoon. You can use missiles if you want, but there's really no point. You can very easily take him out with charge beams and charge shots. Just stand right in the corner right here. The only time you got to worry about taking damage is when he pokes his head out to shoot those green beams. And really, I would say right about there in that one section is the only place he could really hurt you at all. Because if he pops his head out anywhere else, it's very easy to duck down and avoid or jump. And you can see you can avoid those shots very easily here. So that's really all we got with this particular boss fight. You can see very quickly he goes down. It's a quick energy missile refill. Continue moving across. And we are now in another section where you can get yet another energy tank here. So make sure before you go to get it, kill these little baby enemies here. You're going to speed dash all the way across this quicksand, take out the wall, take out these little spawn point enemies here, jump back up. You're going to bomb across through these little hole brick areas here. You're going to have one section right here. Don't go straight ahead here. There is a false floor, bomb up. Once again, there's your 6th energy tank. Now, depending on how you feel with your skill level, you may very well be good enough at this point to move on for Ridley in the end of the game. If you want an insurance policy, like I'm sure most of us do, there is one more energy tank I'm going to recommend that you get, and it is down within Lower Norfair before the Ridley boss fight. But that's for a little bit later in the video, probably in part 3. We're not quite there yet. 6 is definitely good for now. We're going to keep on moving across. This is where you can use that grappling beam, or if you're good at wall jumping, or semi-good, you can do that. Here, this is the final difficult, tricky room before the Draygon boss fight. So again, be very familiar with the grappling beam or the wall jumping. I've opted to use my wall jump here as I am semi-skilled with it. Just keep on moving across. If you are good with the Shine Spark, you can also use that from a, not a glitch, but from a standstill in the previous room. And you can go straight across with a lucky Shine Spark. So if you feel comfortable with that, give it a shot. If not, just do it the slow old-fashioned way. Either way will work. This is the only tricky spot right here with a tricky wall jump off of a deep ledge. So if you can get that, you're in good shape. If not, go the slow way, take the grappling beam. Either way, you'll be fine, don't worry. Bust through here with a super missile, and you're going to have a spiked floor room with a false floor. Go through, get your super missile ready. There is a bust through with a super. And here we go. We are now into the boss room with Draygon. Be warned, this is an extremely easy fight, or it could be an extremely difficult one that can end your run instantly. It all depends on how you prepare and set yourself up for what you would attempt to go for with the easy kill with the grappling beam. And I'll show you what I mean here. So we have the Draygon babies here that will come together and form the real Draygon. Just wait as they come down in the sand, and come on, hurry up. Give us the real thing. Now Draygon, obviously, you can kill him with charge beams, you can kill him with missiles, super missiles, whatever, but the grappling beam is how you can end this fight within a span of 30 seconds here, if you're lucky and you set up for it properly. Go ahead and let him get you with these little spider webs here. Ideally, I would prefer for him to be having me face over to the left. The right still works, but the timing is a little bit trickier, and you're gonna see, you gotta shoot it out at just the right time. I had my chances right there, 3-4 chances, and unfortunately I missed. I'm in deep trouble here. So I'm trying to get loose. Unfortunately, I tried everything in the book. I'm pretty sure there is a way to bust out of his clutches from here, but for whatever reason, it's not working. So I'm just going to have to sit here and take it, and oh my lord, that's half my energy gone. So ideally, I'd like to see myself facing the other way. It is what it is. We're going to make this a little bit exciting and interesting here. We're going to try this one more time, get caught by the spider web, and we're going to try to shoot ourselves over and get caught with the grappling beam. As I'm sure you know from previously having played this boss fight or played it or looked at it, you know that eventually the grappling beam, when it gets attached to an electrical field or current, like this, or this, will suck all the energy out of the enemies here. And it did work, thankfully. I was going to say, had we not got it, that would have been the end of the run right there, almost an hour down the drain. I was about to throw my controller at something here. This, honestly, the first time I've ever come close to even failing this fight against Draygon here. Thankfully it didn't happen, and we can move on here. I made the video entertaining for you at least, so there's that. But this is important. We have the space jump now. So the space jump is one of the most awesome upgrades in the entire game. It's a staple from the regular NES Metroid, and it's a staple in this game as well. What makes it so great? You can jump multiple times in the air without having to worry about wall jumping ever again, or ever having to worry about the grappling beam if you're good at it. That's pretty much it for now. We're going to take a pause here and end this part of the challenge. This will be the end of part 2. Part 3 is going to pick up after we backtrack through Meridia, and we're going to find ourselves heading into Lower Norfair and possibly the conclusion of this challenge. We'll see how far we can get in part 3. Thank you guys so much for tuning in and watching up to this point. Take care. We look forward to hopefully finishing off Super Metroid in the next video. Have a good one.